Good morning. This is the voting meeting before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Thursday, September 15th, 2022. While the public is encouraged to attend, there will be no additional public testimony accepted this morning. We'll begin with the license premise inspection hearing, which occurred on Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Item 1, D&D Hospitality LLC doing business as Publico, located at 11 Dorchester Street in South Boston. Dated the incident February 20th, 2022, assault and battery, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A.
Thanks, Danny. I see no violation.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 2, Orient Heights Yacht Club, located at 61 Bayswater Street in East Boston, dated the incident January 15th, 2022. Patron discharged firearm after exiting premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and expired licenses, certificate of inspection, and entertainment in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.02b, and Chapter 140, Section 183A.
I see no violation on the part of the licensee, and they also provide testimony that they've updated their guest member process, intake process, so I'm comfortable with that.
I agree.
I agree. We should vote on the license.
Excuse me?
Oh, on the
We should vote on
license.
the, yeah. Mhm.
I think they had updated it by the time they had appeared before us. So
They had paid but hadn't posted the receipt, right?
That was the testimony.
Yep. No violation.
no violation.
Yeah, no violation.
Great, thank you. So no violation on either violation here. Great. Item number 3, Fuente Cleaning Services, Inc., doing business as Biliaris Columbia, located at 28 Bennington Street in East Boston. Date of the incident, June 20th, 2022, exceeded occupancy capacity in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F.
On this particular night, the police were responding to loud music, and when they showed up, they were over 100 people over capacity. I see this as an egregious violation. Although they fired the guy, I still vote for a violation here.
I agree. It was egregious as well.
I agree.
Danny, do you want to read? I'm sorry, commissioners. I was going to ask Danny to read both of them in at the same time. The next one is also so that we could discuss them together.
You would like to take the 2 overcrowding violations together?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll also read in item number 4, Fuente Cleaning Services, Inc., doing business as Biliaris Columbia, located at 28 Bennington Street in East Boston. Date of this incident was June 27th, 2022. Overcapacity, crowd gathered outside, obstructing pedestrians in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F.
So I'm going to back up and say again, the police were responding to 2 complaints for loud music on June 20th. They arrived and there were 100 people over capacity, and I see this as an egregious violation. The licensee did testify that the door person was fired right away, but 1 week later, the police showed up again, and again, they were over capacity. While the second one was not nearly as egregious as the first, taken together with 1 week apart, I don't believe the licensee took the first incident serious enough. So my vote would be for a violation for both of them. And given the fact that there is history from May of overcapacity, I would vote for a 1-day suspension.
On number 4, the second one, it's just the way it's written, I was a little confused about, because I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on the crowd gathered outside, but that didn't really, negate the fact that he still had extra people inside. So I was a little uncomfortable about the way it was written. I don't know if in our decision we can kind of note that it was for the overcapacity and not the crowd. For me, it wasn't the crowd. I don't know about you guys, but
The overcapacity.
Right. They were over capacity by like 3. So it was 49, but they had 52. His testimony was that like they had guards in there, like security guards that, but
Yeah.
I mean, but employees, of course, they it's just bodies.
yeah, In context, we'd be willing to excuse 2 or 3 over, but not a week after this other incident, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the timing of it is what is alarming to me. I agree, Commissioner Curran, that the crowd outside isn't necessarily their sole responsibility. I don't think on its own, being over by 3 would rise to the level of shutting the place down. But in light of the fact it is 1 week later, I believe that the licensee should have been properly aware of this type of event happening and should have maintained his capacity inside to an exact number based on the fact that the police were there a week before with such an egregious number. I'm not looking to hit them on the second one on its own, but taking them together, this would be a second violation. And with the May one being so close to it, my vote would be for a 1-day suspension.
I understand.
I agree. And we've said before that, especially he was anticipating the event, the soccer game.
Yes.
You need to build in like some buffer, extra staff. Like that's actually not an excuse. That's actually more reason to be more on top of the situation, not, an excuse. It's often used as an excuse. Oh, there was a big event. And
I agree. And we see this in other parts of the city. We have seen this repeatedly in the last couple of weeks. We see this in the north by North Station. We see this in Fenway. And it's no longer a reason or an excuse that there was a big game. These things do not come as a surprise, and they need to be properly staffed.
I agree.
So just so I understand, is the vote, I understand we've talked about these 2 violations together. So I want to understand where the vote for a 1-day suspension is coming. Is it on each violation? Is the vote for one-day suspension on the second of these violations? If you could, we just clarify for the record.
for me, it's the first one. They were already warned.
Yes.
And then the second one, we're finding a violation, but it's included in the 1-day suspension.
Yeah, it's an escalation, essentially.
So in the docket, Danny, I would note the second one as a violation.
Maybe like 2 1-days would serve concurrent, kind of.
We could do that.
Well, 1-day suspension or a 1-day suspension and a second warning, since were warned in May for the first time for overcrowding.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So the vote is a 1-day suspension on item 3 and a second warning on item 4. Okay. Item number 5, Puente Cleaning Services, Inc., doing business as Bilyards Columbia, located at 28 Bennington Street in East Boston. Date of the incident, July 9th, 2022. Failure to cooperate with police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.14b, and failure to comply with security plan on file with the licensing board in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64.
Based on the testimony and the police report, I see a violation.
I agree.
I agree.
And I would vote for a written warning on failure to cooperate and failure to comply with the security plan.
I agree. Normally, I think I would go straight to a suspension on headline failure to cooperate, but I think there might have been a failure of communication within, but it's still his fault that the communication didn't happen. So I'd be comfortable with only a warning. But normally, I don't even know if failure to cooperate generally fits with a warning. I would think normally we'd go right to a suspension, but I think in these particular circumstances, I think it's appropriate to go with just a warning.
Commissioner Saxon?
I agree with the warning.
Okay, and I agree with you, Commissioner Curran. It was hard to determine whether or not he received the notifications. I don't discount the fact that the police attempted to recover the video.
Vote is a violation with a written warning. Item 6, Bennington 1004 LLC, doing business as Renegades Pub, located at 1004 Bennington Street in East Boston. Patron employee assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A, and patron on patron assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A.
Well, staff called the police based upon the video that was submitted. I don't believe the staff could have done any more to assist this person. They were cooperative and they did everything they could. I see no violation.
And I would I'd like to also additionally commend them for their attempts to stop someone from drink driving. So I saw no violation very much.
I agree.
Item 7, Arguedas Corporation located at 30 Bennington Street in East Boston, dated the incident July 16th, 2022. Assault and battery, patron on patron, serious injury in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A.
I wasn't able to find a violation here based on the testimony at the hearing.
I need a moment. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This is when they were on the patio back, Danny, next door,
This happened.
after hours.
Yeah, it happened after hours outside the establishment. Well, the testimony was that the fight happened outside the establishment after hours.
Yeah, I saw no violation here. I'm sorry. I need to remind myself a little bit. I saw no violation.
No violation.
Item number 8, Aya Pizza LLC doing business as Redline Pizza located at 580 to 582 Dorchester Ave in South Boston. Date of the incident, February 23rd, 2022. Premise operating after 11 p.m. closing at 12:50 a.m. in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9.
You see a violation?
I do, especially in light of previous hearings with this place. We had already cited them for doing the same thing. And the testimony about not knowing the process of changing didn't really ring true in light of the fact that we already explained the process and they've already just gone through it to get the 11 to 2 a.m. delivery only license.
And when was that last year?
It wasn't that long ago. I remember it happening. You know, because of where it is and stuff, I'm familiar with the pizza place and stuff. But I remember very clearly that even back then they were saying, you know, what's the process to get a later license? And we went through the process, and then they went through the process. We had another hearing where we granted them an 11 to 2 for delivery only, and you know, we thought it was all square. And now they're coming back saying they have no idea what was going on. So none of that rang true to me.
Okay. So this would be, I believe, based upon the docket, a second written warning, Danny. And I would like to make sure that they submit the signage that they posted saying that it is closed at 11, that they lock their door, and that is only for their own delivery person after 11 p.m.
Right, I agree. So their own delivery person, were they talking about Uber drivers or?
That's what I was unclear too, if they're allowed to if they are permitted to allow Uber or Uber Eats in. I think they are, but they have to have someone that keeps the door locked.
Like a gray area at this point, you know, whether we would consider Uber drivers, you know, delivery or pickup. Because in one sense, they're picking up, in another sense, they're doing deliveries. It's kind of like it's a middle ground now. It's a new middle ground. What's the, you know, what distinction do we want to have there? But I think the suggestion that they work the door, people outside and you know, give it to that would kind of.
So if an Uber Eats driver arrived, as long as the door was locked and there was someone working the door to allow the person in and to lock the door after the person left, that is fine. We don't want people walking inside, placing an order, waiting for the order, and then taking it home with them. There's a difference, and there's a reason why there's a difference. They don't want people congregating at that hour of the night. They don't want crowds gathering.
And just limit the number of, you know, members of the public that feel that they can show up at that hour. So I would agree with that, yeah.
And maybe they can submit some kind of plan on how they're going to differentiate an Uber driver from, you know, a regular person off of the street. I don't know how they do it.
I think the driver
works.
close their phone when they show up, so it's probably pretty easy.
Yeah.
So is there documentation that the board is requesting at this time for how they are managing?
I think a plan to just differentiate between general members of the public and either their own driver, their own employee driver, and or the app drivers.
And I think we'll have to require this in other parts of the city too. We're seeing this more and more often. It's resulting in a ton of complaints to the board from neighbors that if someone does move towards having delivery after closing hour to extend their hours in that way, we would need a written plan that we approve.
It could be that we suggest that the, even the Uber drivers are not allowed in. I mean, I can imagine there can be a door like right in front, a table right in front of the door. So they actually are not in the establishment, but they just pick it up from the door.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. We'll see if, I'm not sure what their staffing plan is here or how crowded it is on the street to pull over and stuff. But that is something that burden is on the licensee to come up with a plan that we approve.
And this will go back to, managing your orders, not taking too many orders that you can't manage with your staff and that kind of stuff too, as we've said before. It's their job to kind of manage those crowds, and especially at that time, there can't be any crowds.
Okay, so if I can sum up, it sounds like for what the vote is today, the vote is for a violation. You're issuing a warning. We are asking for proof of updated signage of their correct hours, as well as a late night delivery operations plan for approval by the board.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Does that sound right to everyone?
Yes.
Chairman Grace as well?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 9, Danres Corporation doing business as La Chiva Restaurant located at 259 Bennington Street in East Boston, dated the incident July 6th, 2022. Customer bringing alcohol onto patio in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9.
This is a repeated issue, right? I'm just looking at my notes here. I see a violation.
I did too.
Yeah, I completely discredit the licensee's testimony that they were unaware that this was happening. And even if they were unaware, they are responsible to make themselves aware when people come and bring their own alcohol to their patio. This is a CV only. So I see a violation and I would vote for a written warning.
As do I.
I agree.
Item number 10, the licensee failed to appear. We will work with them to reschedule. Item number 11 was a cancellation hearing. This is Bubor Cha Cha Restaurant LLC located at 45 Beach Street. The board held a mandatory informational hearing on August 22nd, 2022, at which the licensee was put on notice of the potential cancellation of the license due to the alleged change in beneficial interest and management, effectively transferring a non-transferable license without the board's approval.
I vote to cancel the license.
I do as well.
I agree.
Cancellation notice will be sent. Moving on to the transactional hearing, which occurred yesterday on Wednesday, September 4th, 2022. Item number 1, Nascence Inc. doing business as Happy Lemon, located at 3193 to 3201 Washington Street in Jamaica Plain, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above. Jason Liu, manager, hours of operation 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 2, LA Donuts Inc. doing business as Dunkin', located at 1912 Beacon Street in Brighton, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above. Alexander DePietro, manager, hours of operation 4 a.m. to 9 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
Item 3, Osnamak Inc. doing business as Centerfolds, located at 12 to 18 LaGrange Street, has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to Nicholas DiFilippo.
I believe the proposed manager of record has demonstrated the appropriate character and fitness to be approved for a manager of record.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 4, Park 54 Restaurant Group LLC doing business as Park 54 Restaurant and Lounge located at 81 Fairmount Ave in Hyde Park has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to Tasha Hull.
I believe Ms. Hull has demonstrated the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 5, 119 Salem Street Inc. doing business as Ristorante Uno located at 119 Salem Street has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to Emmerich Richard Lenar.
I believe the applicant has demonstrated that the proposed manager of record has demonstrated the character and fitness to be approved by this board.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 6, BBRGTR LLC, doing business as Atlantic Fish Company, located at 761 Boylston Street, has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to Matthew Thomas Sentis.
I believe Mr. Sentis has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record by this board.
I agree.
I agree.
Item 7, BBRG Newberry TR LLC, doing business as Joe's American Bar and Grill, located at 26 Exeter Street, has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to Samantha Reynolds.
I believe Ms. Reynolds has demonstrated the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record by this board.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 8, the Oyster Bar Inc., doing business as the Walrus and Carpenter, located at 200 Faneuil Hall Marketplace, has petitioned to pledge the license to Pursuit Inc.
Let's see, I approve the pledge. Sorry, I had already moved ahead.
I agree.
Item 9, United Wine and Spirits LLC, doing business as I Liquor, located at 11 to 17 Bennington Street in East Boston, has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to UJA LLC, doing business as I Liquor at the same location. Quay Ling Dang, manager, closing hour 11 p.m.
The applicant has agreed to place on their license the condition that they would not sell nips or singles. I believe Ms. Dang has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record at this location. So all that I approve this application before us today.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Great, and that is approval with a condition of no nips, no singles.
Yes.
Item 10, Eventide Fenway LLC, located at 1321 Boylston Street, has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Tasty Burger 1 LLC, doing business as Tasty Burger, located at 86 Van Ness Street, closing hour 2 a.m. James Martin, manager.
I believe Mr. Martin has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record by this board. I also approve the transfer, and I also approve issuing a CV only until the transfer is approved by the ABCC.
I agree.
Item number 11, DTXLL Holdings LLC, 13 to 15 West Street, has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Santa Fe Burrito Grill East Boston LLC, doing business as Santa Fe Burrito Grill, located at 303 Sumner Street in East Boston. Has also petitioned to pledge the license to DTXLL Holdings LLC, Pierre Gallego, manager, closing hour 11 p.m. The applicant has agreed to a 10 p.m. closing.
The testimony was that this location, this building went through an extensive BPDA public process a while back, and they were able to demonstrate the public need was for more economic development in this area. I approve the transfer of this license. I believe Mr. Gallego has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as the manager of record. He will be living permanently in Boston by the time this restaurant opens. I also approve the pledge, and I think they wanted to change the closing hour to 10 p.m. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I approve it all.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 12, Blifia Associates LLC, doing business as Taranga, located at 1746 to 1748 Washington Street in Roxbury, has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Asay Tuna Grill Newbury LLC, doing business as Asay Tuna Grill, located at 267 to 269 Newbury Street, and has also petitioned to change the classification of its license to a wines, malt beverages, and liqueurs license. Amal Kurban, manager, closing hour 10 p.m.
I believe Mr. Kurban has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record by this board. This is a transfer from Roxbury to Newbury Street. And I do realize we don't always see that, but this Roxbury restaurant has been closed for years. And now we'll be getting a family-run Mediterranean Greek fast casual restaurant in the Newbury Street area. I think they demonstrated public need for that. And I think that's the only other thing that we needed to approve.
And the upgrade to a liqueurs license.
and the upgrade to the liqueurs license. So I approve this application.
I agree.
I wish we could stay in Roxbury, but yes, I agree.
Item 13 has already been approved by the board. It was only on the agenda to correct a legal defect in the notice. Item 14, No Name Restaurant Inc., doing business as No Name Restaurant located at 15.5 Boston Fish Pier, has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Amelia's Taqueria 4 Inc., doing business as Amelia's Taqueria located at 1076 Boylston Street, closing hour 11 p.m. Luis Garcia, manager.
Mr. Garcia demonstrated that he has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record by this board, and I also approve the transfer of this license. I believe the applicant has demonstrated the public need.
I agree.
I agree.
Moving on to non-hearing transactions, the following are applying for a new common victular license at a previously licensed location. Item 1, El Paisa 2 Restaurant Inc., located at 88 Chelsea Street in East Boston. Erica Usuga, manager of record, hours of operation 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree.
Item 2, Compass Group USA Inc., doing business as Chartwells, located at Suffolk University at 1 Court Street. Robert Siram, manager of record, hours of operation Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree.
Item 3, PNR LLC, doing business as Pick and Roll Sushi, located at 134 Boylston Street. Victor Choi, manager of record, hours of operation Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 4, Boylston FAB LLC, doing business as Finagle Bagel, located at 535 Boylston Street, hours of operation 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Marcelo Marthias, manager of record.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 5, Mike and Patty's JP LLC, doing business as Mike and Patty's, located at 388 Center Street in Jamaica Plain. Robert Powers, manager of record, hours of operation Wednesday through Sunday, 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 6, Sushi Brother Inc., doing business as Havana Sushi 2, located at 58 Franklin Street. Jin Tang Lin, manager of record, hours of operation 10:30 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
And the following have applied to make changes to their existing common victular licenses. Item 1, 1107 Ave LLC, doing business as Lucky Cafe Restaurant, has petitioned to change the manager to Robert Ang.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
And item 2, Omid's Donuts Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, located at 209 to 211 North Harvard Street in Alston, has petitioned to remove their treasurer, Hamid Omid, and transfer 25 shares to Afshin Omid.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
The board has before them a list of special one-day alcohol applications, which have been administratively reviewed by staff and approved by the board. Those are all of the items before the board this week. Thank you, everybody. That will conclude today's voting hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week.
You too.